In Indonesia, forest tenure has long been a source of conflict. The government claims ownership over most of Indonesia's forests. About 2/3 of the country's terrestrial area is classified as state forest land. Some parts are leased out to commercial companies for logging, plantation development and mining, while others are set aside for forest conservation. However, local people have been living on these lands for many generations. So, when the government plans to allocate these areas for other uses, local people face the threat of losing access to their traditional territories. To resolve this, the government of Indonesia initiated an ambitious social forestry program. Now, communities can apply for a permit that formally allows them to use and manage the state forest land. There are several types of social forestry schemes. One of them is called the Village Forest Permit. With this permit, a community is allowed to manage and use forest products for subsistence and commercial purposes for 35 years, as long as the forest cover is maintained. Communities can also use the village forest to market environmental services, such as carbon sequestration. As of March 2019, around 2.5 million hectares of land were titled under the Social Forestry Programme, of which more than half were village forests. Communities with a village forest permit are legally allowed to sell products and services from the forest. This provides an incentive for sustainable community-based forest management. An important additional benefit is that the village forest permit gives the community the security that the government will not lease out the forest for other uses. There are several challenges to implementing the social forestry program. Applying for the permit, for example, involves long and complex procedures. Few communities have the capacity and budgets to go through the process without outside support. Also, after the permit has been granted, communities may face difficulties with meeting the requirements that come with the village forest permit, such as implementing management plans and monitoring. Lastly, some indigenous communities are not supporting the village forest concept. They argue that the government should acknowledge that indigenous communities have full ownership over the forested lands, while under the village forest permit, ownership remains with the state. Research shows that the success of social forestry schemes, such as the village forest, depends on several key factors. First, procedures need to be simple and flexible, so they can be adapted to the local context and needs with full engagement of the community. Second, the permit will need to provide a community with actual tenure security. This means that the government should be willing and able to ensure that the community's right is upheld and that there are no conflicting claims on the same land. Third, in case a community wants to develop a forest-based enterprise, it will need access to skills, finance, information and markets, and the regulatory environment should support community-based businesses. And above all, the success of social forestry schemes will depend on the involvement and the acceptance of local people. When governments and NGOs work together with communities on these key factors, there is a better chance that social forestry schemes, such as the village forest, will help to improve local livelihoods in a sustainable manner.